What do you see there?
No, I'm looking at the bus.
Please rise.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. LeMay, Mr. Moran,
Here.
Mr. Tatsias, Mr. Gigi,
Here.
Mr. O'Hare,
Here.
Mr. Espinola,
Here.
Mr. Bahu,
Here.
Mr. Booton.
Here. Okay. Mr. Gigi, can you check to see if anybody would like to speak from the public?
The list is blank.
Thank you, sir. At this point, I'll turn the meeting over to the superintendent. No?
No.
I guess I'm not. Oh, approval of minutes. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from May 19th by Mr. Espinola, seconded by Mr. Bahu.
Mr. LeMay, Mr. Moran.
Yes.
Mr. Tatsias, Mr. Gigi.
Yes.
Mr. O'Hare.
Yes.
Mr. Espinola.
Yes.
Mr. Bahu.
Yes.
Mr. Booton.
Yes. Approval of the warrants. I'll entertain a motion to waive the reading of the warrants by Mr. Espinola, seconded by Mr. Moran.
Mr. LeMay, Mr. Moran.
Yes.
Mr. Tatsias, Mr. Gigi.
Yes.
Mr. O'Hare.
Yes.
Mr. Espinola.
Yes.
Mr. Bahu.
Yes.
Mr. Booton.
Yes. Motion to approve expenditures for the sum of $3,306,673.25 by Mr. Moran, seconded by Mr. Espinola.
Mr. LeMay, Mr. Moran.
Yes.
Mr. Tatsias, Mr. Gigi.
Yes.
Mr. O'Hare.
Yes.
Mr. Espinola.
Yes.
Mr. Bahu.
Yes.
Mr. Booton.
Yes. I see there's no report of the general counsel, so we'll move on to the report of the superintendent director, Mr. Bourgeois.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First item on my report is approval of two donations, the first of which is a 2006 Chevy Aveo with an approximate value of $3,000. It's being donated to us by the American Textile History Museum. Apparently they had an exhibit that it was part of because of the fabrics, I guess, that were inside the vehicle. And they've taken that exhibit down, and they called and asked if we would like to get, like to have it as a donation. And it'll be a car that the kids can work on in the auto tech shop, troubleshoot. So I'd ask you to approve that donation, please.
Motion to approve the
Motion by
donation.
Mr. Bahu, seconded by Mr. Moran. Any discussion? All in favor?
LeMay,
Whoops.
Roll call the roll.
Mr. LeMay, Mr. Moran.
You're not at the town meeting now.
Mr. Moran. Mr. Tatsias, Mr. Gigi.
Yes.
Mr. O'Hare.
Yes.
Mr. Espinola.
Yes.
Mr. Bahu.
Yes.
Mr. Booton.
Yes, my PYO days.
And the second donation is from a Dracut resident, former school committee member. Victor Olson contacted me, and he's got a very nice concert piano that he offered to donate to our music club. He sent a few pictures over. I checked in with Mike Chadwick, who's our music club advisor, and they do have one piano, and they could use another one. So he recommends that we accept the donation, so I would ask your approval.
Motion to approve the piano?
Motion by Mr. Bahu, seconded by Mr. Moran.
Mr. LeMay, Mr. Moran.
Yes.
Mr. Tatsias, Mr. Gigi.
Yes.
Mr. O'Hare.
Yes.
Mr. Espinola.
Yes.
Mr. Bahu.
Yes.
Mr. Booton.
Yes.
And the next item on my agenda, our Assistant Superintendent Principal, Jill Davis, has been working diligently with a team of folks on our school improvement plan, and she's going to come up and review it with you and ask for your approval.
Okay. Good
Welcome.
evening, Mr. Chairman and school committee members.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Are the mics on? I'm so used to that mic in the lecture hall that's so loud. Before
turn
you
your
have
microphone up a
the...
little bit.
Okay. Before you have the 2016-2017 school improvement plan. Before I begin to explain some of the items in the plan, I just would like to thank the School Improvement Planning Committee and the school council members for working collaboratively with me to develop this plan to move our school forward next school year. So thank you to all those members. So I'd just like to start with page 3, which talks about goal 1 of the school improvement plan. Again, just to review for you, the school improvement plan is aligned to the teacher evaluation rubric, all the standards in the teacher evaluation rubric. So where you see standard 1, that's standard 1 in the teacher evaluation rubric, and goal 1 is aligned to standard 1, and goal 1 focuses on tier 1 intervention and support. This is to add to our support systems that we have here at school to develop a more formalized approach, which is going to be led through the guidance department, and hopefully with the implementation of a more formalized system, we will decrease student failures, referrals to the office, and increase growth in student achievement. So overall, this school improvement plan is really focused on the social emotional learning of our students, tied into growth mindset, tied into increasing employability skills. That's the overall theme. Again, continuing to build our professional learning culture here, trying to create a school that is safe and welcoming for all students, where all students feel comfortable and free to learn. Goal 2 is focused on employability skills and assessments for all students. Taking feedback from our advisory boards and our employers, we're going to work to improve the employability skills of our students, creating school-wide employability rubrics that all these shops can use to try to assess our students' employability skills and help to build their employability skills. The outcome of this goal is to really retain our kids who are out on co-op so they don't get sent back. And hopefully more employers will hire our students, and our students will have those skills to maintain the jobs that we get from them. Goal number 3 is to continue to improve the school climate and culture to create a safe and supportive learning environment for all students. And that's really what the social emotional learning piece comes in. And to really explain to you in more detail about social emotional learning, it has to do with self-management, self-awareness, responsible decision-making, relationship skills, and social awareness of students. We're going to implement a set of school-wide core values. There was a committee this year headed up by myself and the senior assistant principal, Mr. Costa, with a group of administrators and teachers who developed a set of school-wide core values with input from the staff as well as input from the students. And the acronym of those core values is REACH. And REACH stands for, and I'm going to try to remember this, R is for respect, E is for effort, S is for, what? REA, I'm sorry, REACH. RA is for accountability, C is for commitment, and H is for honesty. So those are our school-wide core values, which we plan to roll out in the fall, in which we plan to put on our school website, as well as sort of brand some of our school student handbook with that acronym of REACH. Goal number 4 has to do with continuing to develop a professional learning culture that respects the growth and positive involvement of all its members, and we are going to continue to work together collaboratively as a school to help to increase student achievement. One of the objectives is to develop an understanding of growth mindset and try to promote that growth mindset not only amongst our staff members but amongst our students. That's tied into the social emotional learning piece as well. And we're going to work to develop and promote positive positive response to student discipline, and of a restorative justice approach and positive behavioral, with using positive behavioral interventions and supports. So the goal will be to change student behavior and really work to research some restorative justice practices and some positive behavioral interventions and supports that we can use with students to try to change their behavior. And that's the school improvement plan for next year.
Great, very good.
Very good.
Thank you.
Mr. Bajo?
Any questions?
I'd say a lot of work went into it, I can
Yes,
tell.
there
You
was.
have over 20 people working on it. I'm very excited that you're going to try to, develop all of these goals. It seems like they're lofty goals. I love the idea of the co-op. I think the co-op opportunities to have the businesses work with us, and be able to, have our students job ready, as well as the REACH program and the safety would be, all great goals, lofty goals for, this school and for everything that you're hoping to do for us. So I, would like to set up a motion to approve.
Thank you.
Mr. Bajo? Any other speakers?
No, just a
Second by
second
Mr.
one.
Moore? Anybody else? I'd just like to say a couple of things. On Section 1, Standard 1, we talk about lifting the students up, so that all students can move up, but the focus seems to be on the children that may have issues and supporting those children with issues. I would hope that we could go forward with our advanced students and help challenge them also. We've done a great job over the last 3.5, 4 years, going from 60th percentile up to the 42nd percentile, and I hope we can continue to focus on that with our curriculum. I noticed that the curriculum director has a lot of work ahead of him.
Yes, so just to add to that, we have added some dual enrollment classes and some AP classes to challenge the higher end students. It's not
We're going
in
to be
this.
having AP courses?
We're going to pilot, yes. Superintendent, yes. We're going to pilot an AP English course.
So if I may, the fourth goal, professional learning culture, one of the tenets of developing that culture is improving Tier 1 instruction so that more kids are successful the first time it's taught, and that's the formative assessment piece, not moving on until the majority of the kids have gotten it. But at the same time, the teacher needs to take a look at the class and say, okay, at the end of the day, there'll be a few kids that might not have gotten it. What's the intervention? Because they still have to get it. We can't just leave them behind. But the other part of that is, okay, the kids that got it real quick, what are we going to do to enrich their learning? So it's really a three-pronged approach. What is it we want kids to know? How do we know they know it? What are we going to do for the kids that already know it? And how are we going to get the
Help
kids
those
that
kids who
don't get it? How are we going to get them so that they, because it's important that they have the skills and knowledge before they move on. So that's embedded in the PD conference that we're going to, Professional Learning Communities at Work, is all about that. So we're absolutely, and through discussions and
Feedback from students.
We are moving forward with expanding our dual enrollment program, our concurrent enrollment program, and looking into starting to offer AP classes as well. Not just in the core academics, but also in the vocational shops too.
Yes, we are having AP.
Yeah, so we're heading in that direction.
So it's not in the plan, but it's already happening.
Fantastic.
Any
Can I
other
just
questions?
take a point of personal privilege at this point? I have to say the graduation ceremony personally was exceptional for me, being here over 3.5 years, having my son graduate. I didn't make any issue of it the other night because it was his night, and I didn't want to take any of the spotlight, but I didn't get to compliment you, Ms. Davis, for the work you've done here, and for you, Mr. Bourgeois, and your staff, and the team that you've led here. My school committee members, thank you for the volunteer work that you do. I am so happy we sent our son here, and I thank both of you for leading the school and appreciate all of you what you're doing. So
Thank you for
Wanted to
sending...
do that before you left the table.
Thank you for sending your son here and entrusting his education to our care. We appreciate that.
So before I leave the table, I would like to thank all of you for your support this year, and I look forward to working with you next year. I could not do my job without the support of the school committee, so I appreciate that. And I'd also like to thank the superintendent for all of his support each and every day. So, and without him, I couldn't do my job as well. So thank you to the school committee members and Mr. Bourgeois for all your support.
And I saw the number
appreciate
of
it.
meetings and hours you and your team put into this improvement plan. It was very well thought out and very
So,
very
yeah,
comprehensive.
I'm
So
very
thank you.
happy about the plan. I think it really has a solid focus, to help us move our students and our school forward, so.
Would you please thank them on behalf of the school committee for their help with the school
I
improvement
will.
plan? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Roll
Thank you.
call.
Mr.
To
Lemay?
accept the plan?
Mr. Lemay, Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Tatsias, Mr. Gigi?
Yes.
Mr. O'Hare? Mr. Espinola?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Booton?
Yes.
Next item on my report is that, unfortunately, we did the school committee meeting calendar before we got the date for the District Skills USA competition here. Last year, we had a conflict, and Jill was able to be at the district competition, but we were all here, and we missed it. So unfortunately, we approved the calendar, then we got the date. We were hoping the date was going to be the week before, but it wasn't. So it's the same week as as our meeting. So I just wanted to, if it's okay with you, if we could change that meeting date in March. So instead of meeting on March 16th, if we could possibly meet on March 9th, then it would free, it's a selfish reason. I really don't want, it killed me to miss the Skills USA district competition and the awards ceremony. They compete all day long, and then the awards ceremony is that evening. So if it isn't a problem, if it's a problem, we can leave it. But if it's not a problem, I'd love to change it so that I can be at the district competition.
Move to change it.
Motion by Mr. Moran, seconded by Mr. Bahu.
Mr. Lemay? Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Tatsias? Mr. Gigi?
Yes.
Mr. O'Hare?
Yes.
Mr. Espinola?
What day did we change?
We're changing it to March
It's
9th
on
instead of the
it's on
16th.
here.
All right.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Booton?
Yes. I think this is,
See, this
we
is-
want you there,
Yeah.
and I'm glad you want to be there.
Killed me last year to miss it.
Sure.
I think it killed all of us because we were winning so many
Yeah,
medals.
yeah, Jill kept coming in with a report over there. She was doing sign language in the corner.
Something we all wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was exciting. So Cheryl will send out a new meeting notice and cancel the other one for your electronic calendars, as well as updating the paper calendar and getting you the new copy, so there won't be any confusion. But thank you for making that change. The fourth thing on my agenda is, as you know, we're going to have a kind of a cyber cafe that's going to be opening in September, and the culinary arts, an expansion of our culinary arts program. And the culinary arts teachers have been, meeting, and they're very excited about the new space. But they're also asking about what are we going to name it, and it's not a name for the naming committee because it's not being named. We're not asking to name it after somebody. But I didn't want to name it something without getting some, at least getting your approval or letting you know that right now the suggestion that they're offering or that they'd like us to consider is calling it the Griffin Cafe. If that's okay with everybody, then I don't want to make a sign or name it without running it by you folks first. So that's what they're asking or they're requesting that you consider.
Mr. O'Hare.
Where is it going to be located in terms of downstairs now?
So when you come in and you go by the Artisan Restaurant and you keep walking down, right, it'll be on the left, which used to be the entrance into the old Aramark kitchen. So that's where. So you see the sign Artisan Cafe, then look down. You'd then see a sign hanging from the ceiling that would say whatever we decide to name this. It would be right there. And there's going to be high top tables and chairs just outside it. So you can go in. It's going to be basically fast food. It's set up to teach kids how to run in a fast food environment. So you can go in. You can grab a wrap. You can grab a coffee, a pastry, whatever you want. You can go right out in that hallway. Right now in that hallway, there's some cafeteria tables. Those will be gone, and they'll be replaced by high top tables with stools. And a little further down, we're going to have a a long table with chairs so that if, let's say, a bunch of teachers wanted to have a meeting during their prep period, they could go in, grab a coffee, go sit down there, and just kind of have a meeting. So that's going to be in there as well.
This won't be open to the students.
It will not be open to the students. It's just staff and visitors. Yeah.
Are we hoping to have a sign up, prior to the school year? Prior to the school
If-
being open in September?
If that name's okay with you folks, then my next step is to work on getting a sign for it, so that we'll have something hanging. Actually, what I'd like to do is probably replace the Artisan sign. I think we can maybe, now that we have a new entrance to the Artisan as well, I think we'd probably have 2 new signs made. And I'd work with Mark Byrne to get them ordered and get them in.
Wouldn't be something our students would do?
I don't think you have them now. You wouldn't be able to have them.
I'd rather not have them opening at the beginning of
Yeah,
the year, and
yeah,
I'd
no,
rather have the students take the pride in it.
It could be a joint effort of painting and design and graphic communications to put a sign together for us. So I definitely would check that option out first. I mean, they do some pretty fantastic work, as you can see.
I'm just one person, if the committee wants something, but kids will take pride in it.
We can put a temporary sign up and then have I could whip something up for a temporary sign that would be very inexpensive, and then we could have them work on something really nice. That's always our first preference, is to have our kids do the work if they can.
Where did we originate the name Artisan Cafe? If the kids were getting involved in it, do you think that would be the name that they'd give it?
Oh, that?
We have an Artisan restaurant, now we're gonna have an Artisan Cafe.
Artisan restaurant, yeah.
No, Griffin Cafe.
No, Griffin
Griffin
Cafe.
Cafe.
That's what we're proposing, that's what they're proposing you consider Griffin Cafe.
Who's they?
The teachers in the department,
Oh.
they're the ones that came up with the Griffin Cafe. They thought that'd be a really appropriate, nice name for
I
it.
was, if I may, I was here when the Artisan was called the Tradesman.
Yeah.
It was called the Tradesman, and then they put it out to the school, and everybody submitted what they thought it should be best suitable, which is Tradesman is an artisan. You know what I mean? So I don't know if maybe we should go with this, or just, I don't know, put it out there for other things other than just the culinary department. I don't know. That's only my opinion. But
Do you have a contest or something?
Whatever you guys wish me to do, I'm just bringing it forward that we gotta call it something.
Yeah.
And people didn't like the term cyber cafe. I know that's what we were modeling it after, because it wants to have some identity to the school they'd like it to have, so they don't wanna call it cyber cafe. And they came up with the idea of Griffin Cafe, but it's just an idea. We're more than happy to do whatever your wishes are to figure it out.
or something somewhat related to the kids that are gonna run it, besides our culinary person running it. It's gonna be for those specific kids, what I mean? Maybe we wanna have that involved there somehow.
I'd like to see it opened up at some point, Mr. Moran, that we're gonna, and that's how it was proposed originally, we're gonna start with the teachers using it and see how they use it, and then it may be something that, late in the afternoon, it's open for an hour before the kids go over to sports. Maybe they're gonna grab a snack.
I'm not talking about that, I'm talking about
So to include all of the
name
kids.
of it, what I mean?
Right, so Griffin Cafe would capture all of the kids, not just those working in there.
I could send an email out asking for suggestions, and then I could get back to you guys at our August meeting. There's no rush for this. I can get
There's no rush.
Yeah, no, I can get back. I just wanted to start the conversation and at least let you know what the suggestion was.
I feel like the school committee's, trying to come up with some thoughts on their own right now, but if we could go ahead and poll, the staff here,
Yeah.
as well
People-
as the students, and then begin to sort of come up with some thoughts that would be as catchy as the Griffin Cafe, because we definitely want to identify with the students, because it will be student-run, and it will be student-run for all the years to come. So we want to make sure that we incorporate that name that will really stick to the school, and people may be able to say, hey, listen, I went to the Griffin Cafe over at Great Lowell Tech the other day, and it was...
So if we want to include the students to offer suggestions, probably we should wait until September when they come back. They're leaving us tomorrow. So
Would it stop the cafe from opening?
No. I'll put a sign that'll just say cafe.
I'll go along
Till we
with
figure
that.
it out, right?
I think that's the best way.
You know what I mean?
I'll
We'll
go along
put a
with,
temporary cafe sign up, and next September, we'll ask the staff, and, we'll create a process for them to make suggestions, and then probably put a little committee together to take a look at the suggestions and make a recommendation.
I think Mr. O'Hare had a great idea with a contest. Put it to the students, drop it in a bucket, names, and then go to the staff committee or something. If we're gonna wait that long, you know, it's good to get the kids involved in it. Have a fishbowl out there the first month, 2 weeks, week, 24 hours, whatever, and have come up with suggestions, and then put it to a vote.
Sounds like a job for Mr. Fallon.
There you go.
Put him in charge of name the cafe contest. Both of them.
Co-chairs.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate the input, and that's the way we'll proceed. Last thing on my report is the cooperative education report. Be the last one of this year. So just want to make note that for our seniors who are leaving, at the date of graduation, there were 35% of them who were on co-op. That's up 3 percentage points from the year before. We were at 32% at graduation last year. Also, last year's class, we had 43% of kids participate. We had 35% of them still working, but in the course of the year, some kids go and come off because of sports or something. So we had 43% participate. This year, we had 53% of the class participate. So that went up 10 percentage points, our participation rate. And if you look at our juniors, currently, we have 17% out, and last year at this time, we only had 12%. And we just had a day before graduation, talking to Jonathan from CVS. He's been working with CVS because they have a requirement that you have to be 18 years old to work in a CVS, like a lot of companies do. And he's been working with them to reduce it to 17-year-olds old for kids in either our marketing or our health or our medical program. And that just got approved. So they're now, they're interviewing almost 20 of our kids that don't make the 18. They're waiting to become 18, but now they're eligible to go on co-op with CVS. So that was a huge breakthrough with CVS. We were limited because we only had a few kids that were 18. So we had some kids out with CVS, but only the kids that were 18. And like immediately there were 11 kids that were going on, you know, so they've been going up to Stacy's office and going online to be able to apply, and then they interview, and there's 10 CVSs in the area that are participating in this. So I think the junior number is going to jump pretty quick over the summer here, just with that cohort of kids alone. So,
Mr. Bajo?
Yeah, just one comment. This is an amazing accomplishment to have 53% of our seniors involved in co-op in respect to 43% last year, in respect to even lower numbers in previous years to that. So I can tell that it's really grabbing onto the students, and it's also grabbing onto the local businesses, because the businesses are, you know, involving themselves with our students to go ahead and employ them. And you know, it goes back to Ms. Davis's school improvement plan of increasing co-op and making students job ready. So, you know, kudos to everybody involved in that. I know you've had a lot to do with that, Mr. Bourgeois. I know Jonathan from CVS has had an awful lot to do with that, and to go ahead and have the approval of 17-year-olds and, you know, have a feeder system that works in, you know, a national chain like that is an absolute winner for every student here at Greater Lowell Tech and for every person that passes through this building. So thanks for all the hard work.
thank you. It's a slow process. It's not something you can do in a short period of time. You have to build the partnerships. You have to build the network. You have to get the kids better prepared so that they're successful. We don't want to send them out if they're not going to be successful. But everybody's, I mean, everything's moving forward in a fairly rapid way, and the numbers are starting to show that, especially with the juniors this year. Significant increases. But thank you. I appreciate the kind words. That's my report.
And also,
Mr. Moore and then Mr. O'Hare?
I'm sorry, through the chair. We had, the co-op dinner,
Yeah.
what a success that was too this year, that last year it started out with 30 people, and this year you had, 80 or 100 people.
102.
And all those people that are involved in, that was amazing.
Now, Stacy Bazanson deserves a lot of credit. She's tireless worker, unbelievable advocate for kids, and she's really creating those connections with the businesses too. And she's growing into the job because she's only been in the job for this is only her third year.
Yeah.
And she's doing a fabulous job.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's a good point, Mr. Moran, going from 30 businesses, people to over 102.
Yeah, no.
Very
it
nice.
was,
1 year.
It was very nice, you know.
Mr.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Mr. O'Hare?
Just want to say one thing, we're always talking about, we putting kids in placement, and I just happened to be in a, a deli last night up on Gorham Street. One of the girls is a co-operative student, and the other one is a permanent student graduate, and I gave her the program that we had for the retirees and the people who went ecstatic. Get the point I'm trying to get, they're still proud of Great Lowell, so.
Good. I think the juniors, that's a 50% increase over last year. That's a huge increase to get juniors before CVS has even taken effect, so great job, keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Okay, next we'll have old business. I would,
Manager.
yeah, I'm on the wrong page.
Could I just talk something on old business?
I misspoke, we're report of the business manager.
Oh, I'm sorry, good.
I was on the wrong page.
Oh, there are no items to report.
Very good.
All right.
Ms. Turner, thank you.
Good, good.
Old business, Mr. O'Hare, you had a question?
Yeah, just, if we could put something on the agenda, to discuss at the next meeting, but on the old business, we had a couple of, items that we really haven't done anything in a long time. One is the Athletic Hall of Fame. I thought there was some discussion on that sometime ago, and I haven't heard anything. If we
Athletic
could,
Hall of Fame?
yeah, yes.
Okay.
And if we could just add that to old business and see if we
Certainly.
can bring something up on that. There was also a lot of different reasons why, but there was a dedication to George Quill Harris at one time, and everything has been very slow on that, and if we could activate that for discussion at our next meeting. And that is about it. The other thing, one other thing, and maybe we should either continue or eliminate it. Some time ago, we set up a wall, which was going to be a wall of superintendents, similar to if you walk into City Hall in Lowell, you see pictures of all the past mayors, and for a long period of time, and as they get older, they take them down because they don't have that much room. We attempted to do the same thing here, but for a lot of different reasons, it never really came to fruition. The only bronze plaque up is Bill Collins, so if we could, at the next meeting, I'll make a motion at the next meeting.
That would be the appropriate thing. If you
Yeah.
had a motion for it, we could get it on the agenda and then,
Yeah, we'll make a motion
Get that
for
going.
that, and that's basically, we'll either continue it or we'll eliminate it, because it's,
okay,
it's just sitting there right now.
excellent.
So that would be a motion. If we could actually just revert all these to a motion, and we'll discuss those at the next meeting.
Are those on old
Okay.
business somewhere? I don't,
Yes,
No.
yes.
Two of them were. Well,
I only see two old business, one man, one vote, and visitors locker. When you're saying these
Mr.
aren't.
O'Hare is
no,
saying
no,
it
this
was
is-
brought up in the past, but it
Yeah.
hadn't been followed
Yeah.
through. It was before we started adding, anytime there's a motion,
I understand how it's done, I just
But-
didn't see it, I was
But that
wondering where
started
it came
after Mr. O'Hare brought up those other things prior, so he wants to put those on here.
So we'll put them in as a motion for the next meeting.
Sure.
Yep.
And then they'll get added to the list.
Yeah.
Mr. Moore?
I want to just, to add to Mr. O'Hare's, in the time that I've been here on the board, the George Quill Harris thing keeps coming up, and
Yep.
It's
I
the
think
family.
it's the family that's holding,
Right.
Yeah.
they can't seem to get together with the whole family, the Quill Harris family, and
Okay.
Right.
and that seems to be the issue,
Right.
why it hasn't moved forward.
Just needs a little jump start.
Yeah, that's, my understanding is that they were never able to coordinate time for them to come in to be able to do it.
Yeah.
We can attempt, put it,
Yeah.
add it, and I have no trouble trying to, connect with them, and if they can't come in, or if they don't want to, then we can
We'll
figure out
we'll
a
make
different way to
it
do it.
possible that they come in. It's just that it's, it's been going on too long now. We'll resolve this.
I would like to just request that we remove the one-man, one-vote requirement from the old business. I think it's had its time. If anything comes up, we could always put it on as a motion at this point. It's not a hot-button item, so to speak, so
Just
there's
one-
no objection,
If I could ask one question on it.
certainly.
Has anybody, I've got reams of paper on how this is going to operate, the terms of people for something in the future, but have we ever heard has there been a general announcement to the people in the city of Little Drake, Tingsboro, and Dunstable of how that is going to work?
I received an email from the city after my inquiries.
City, and who in the city?
From Christine O'Connor, or from the Assistant City Manager, Mike McGovern, and
Right.
that was from Christine O'Connor's office. I forwarded it to the superintendent, and also,
So that's the official way that the next Greater Lowell election will take place.
the best we know
Well,
from the
that's
information
what I keep-
we've received.
If I can
I
make a
read on it.
motion that we get that somehow officially sent out to the people that are on the school committee too, because I have no idea when I'm running and how long and what day and
Well,
if next week
since it's
or
under new
something.
business, we can bring it up right now.
So,
So since it's on old business, if
okay.
you could forward the emails to the committee members, if everybody's okay with that.
Well, is that email, is that cast in stone, that's what's gonna happen?
As I said, I received an
I know.
email from the Assistant City Manager that came from the City Solicitor's Office, that this is how the terms were going to run.
Yeah.
That's who I heard it from.
Well, let me turn it around. Is Mary Sabloska going to know who to vote for and where to go?
I can't answer that question.
Well, that's the question I'm trying to find out. Does everybody know what's happening at the, a letter, actually, I think we received 3 or 4 different letters at one time, and, or 2, maybe I exaggerated 2, but 2 letters. I think maybe what you're referring to could be the absolute, but every once in a while I have doubts if that's going to be the absolute way.
I would suggest you talk to the Election Commission in your district to find out who, or who's in charge of your elections in your district, to find out from them. That's what I did, and it got kicked up the chain, and then I got an email explaining how the city of Lowell is going to move forward with it. For the members from the towns, you may want to check with whoever your governing body is for the elections office.
You have to be careful now, because my election district covers Tingsboro, Dunstable, the whole works.
Right, but if I understand, Mr. O'Hare, you'll be filing your papers within the city you reside.
See, Judge, no one really cares about us because we're the only ones that have to run district-wide. Some other people slid in.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Do we know, do we know that whether the towns need to go ahead and vote on it to approve it? Because I don't know if there's ever been a vote of the 4 communities to approve this.
It's my understanding that the agreement, or I read the agreement, and it said that the next meeting, the towns were supposed to vote on it, and the Lowell City Council was supposed to vote on it. To the best of my knowledge, it's only been Tingsboro and possibly Dunstable that have voted. Drake and Lowell, to my best of my knowledge, have not voted on it.
So,
Hence the reason for my questions.
so at this time, I'm not sure that we should remove it from.
The reason I was gonna remove it is because it's not something we've talked about for months, and it's not, if it becomes an issue at the meeting, we haven't talked about it at the meeting for months, if it becomes an issue, we can always make a motion to bring it up. The reason we were keeping the old business current, or I argued to keep it the last time, was it was still being debated. At this point, I think most of the debate's over. If something comes up, we just put a motion in to speak about it at the next meeting. We can take action on it now, because it's old business. If we wanted to take a vote, we could. But I don't think we're gonna be taking any votes on it anytime soon.
I personally don't see a reason to remove it,
Okay.
because at least that way we can bring it up whenever we want to, and as we define whether the towns have voted on it and fully approved it, that's when we could probably have it removed. Because we just don't know. We know Lowell has a decree and they gave it to us. We know Tingsboro may have voted on it, but we don't know that Drake had voted on it, and we don't know that Dunstable voted on it.
Okay. No, we'll just leave it on.
Can we, Mr. Chairman, would it be possible for the rest of the school committee to take a look at that infamous email to find out when I can
Sure.
prepare myself to run?
I think we already covered that and said we would send that out.
Okay.
Cheryl can forward that out to everybody.
That's official.
I apologize, I thought it was sent out to everybody.
Oh, I get a letter that I think
Okay.
you may have been an author, but I don't, I'm just wondering if that is, in fact, I really haven't heard anything
Well, I
from the
believe
city
when
solicitor
I-
nor the election
I
commission.
believe when I questioned Kelly Gonzalez, she said it was a court order, it was signed, it's official.
court order was that,
The proposal that Lowell brought to
yeah.
the court in Boston.
It's a
So we
court,
had to follow a consent
it's
decree.
a court
That's what it was.
decree,
Right, consent
and,
decree.
we have to, the cities and towns still have to vote for it. If they vote it down, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It's a consent decree from the court, so it doesn't matter, but it still has to be voted, so it becomes part of the charter of the cities and towns.
Do you wanna start campaigning?
If I have to run in November, I should start now, right?
No.
I have no idea when I'm supposed to
You'll be
run.
running in November.
Yeah, how do you know?
Yeah, so anyway, it comes back to, we're all just a little vague on it.
Sure.
Yeah,
We think it's going to happen.
yeah. It's like a quiz.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And there's no right answer. There's no right.
I move the meeting along, suggest to move the meeting.
I will take that suggestion and say new business at this point.
Okay.
Mr. Bahu?
Yeah, I've got an item that I'd like to go ahead and speak about. I've had some conversations with the superintendent about advertising our school. Our school is growing rapidly. We've got this great $65 million building project that we just completed. Our co-op numbers are up greatly. We have an LPN program here. We have night programs. They're advertised sometimes on the local cable television, on a still photograph. Sometimes they're advertised in the local newspaper. But I don't know that everybody is able to go ahead and identify with, just those two means of advertisement. So I'm coming up with the idea. I happened to be in Worcester recently, and I saw a bus. I'm going to pass around some pictures that I took of this bus. It was advertising the Worcester Regional Technical School and what they had to offer, co-op as well as nursing programs, as well as being identified with all the hard work that goes into these technical schools. We're being identified with regularly from the governor of Massachusetts. The lieutenant governor has paid us a visit. I know there's ways that we could advertise where more people would identify with our night programs or with our students or with our co-op programs. We're looking for businesses to go ahead and employ some of our co-op students, and sometimes that can be a burden. With that being the case, to advertise this school would be something that would be beneficial, I think, to every student, every business, as well as us as a school committee and such like that, because when we put our best foot forward, we're able to identify with all the students that have the need of a vocational education. I know that, rather than maybe even using these buses and wrap them and use graphics, there's billboards, in the city of Lowell. There's billboards over on the Lowell connector that could be used, that could be rendered. There's some at the end of Westford Street. I'm not sure if there's billboards in Drake, but the more we can, share the information or share what we do here at Greater Lowell Tech, it may be beneficial to us. I know Mr. O'Hare, a number of months ago, came up with the idea of our buses that transport our students to go ahead and shrink wrap them or write Greater Lowell Tech on the side of it and use our logo to really begin to identify with everything that we do here, or something that we can do here, because there's so many different aspects of everything that we do. So I just wanted to initiate that discussion. I know it's not required to have a vote. Just curious what the school committee may think about that, so that we can, begin to maybe give the superintendent some guidance to begin this, or not so, if it's not the school committee's desire.
Thank you, Mr. Bahu. Mr. O'Hare?
I think that's a great idea, wonderful idea. And what I noticed in the past 6 months, the university has buses, small buses, vans that go around picking up students that are going to the various schools. And they're all shrink wrap all over them, and they have different mottos on them, apartments on them, services on them, and I think that is a real big selling point for the university. Fred brings up something even better, to have all the buses that go to all the districts. And the reason I brought it up at the time was because we got a bus donated to us, and that was going to be made for students that are going to be in the craft going out to different jobs. And wouldn't that be great if the bus pops up and it's all Greater Lowell stuff, not Nick's pipe company, but Greater Lowell is doing the work also. And I think that's a selling point for the school itself.
Mr. Chairman,
Sure, Mr. Moran?
I think it's all great ideas. It depends on the cost. You know what I
Well,
mean?
we got a bus for nothing.
I know, but if we could find the money to do all these other things
Yep.
to promote the school, which I think the school doesn't need a lot of promo myself, but that's only my opinion. But
Well, I was an advertising guy.
All set, Mr. Moran?
yeah, I'm all set.
Mr. Gigi, did you?
Well, I think it comes down to what it would cost. I think it's a fantastic idea if we can get our name out there on a regular basis. And I think some of the ways that you might look at is the free publicity route, the newspapers, the guidance counselors, that's where, you know, we can get the most bang for the buck. If we can find somebody that wants to donate or promote the shrink wrap, I heard was somewhat expensive. It's like $400 or $4,500 for a car. But it's a fantastic idea. I'd entertain if we can find some way to do it affordably, and I think one of the best ways to do it's, you know, through free publicity, getting our name out there through the papers and through the different awards that the students are winning, and getting the kids out in the general public in the papers. And I don't know if the papers really catch it all the time, because we don't bring it to their attention. It's only if something really bad or something really fantastic happens. The everyday stuff kind of falls by the wayside. If we can get that in the public eye, that would be great.
Okay.
One more point.
Sure.
You know, and you brought up the graduation and the backdrop of the graduation, you know, that was done of the new cafeteria. So it's possible that some of this stuff could be done in-house.
Right.
You know, but I mean, I think, you know, like you said, to have one vehicle at $4,500, I mean, you know, we don't have the tuition that like the colleges do, but I think that, you know, yeah, some of maybe those smaller buses that we send out, you know, or that particular construction bus that's going to go out, you know, instead of just a yellow bus with Greater Lowell Tech on it, but it depends on the cost.
Do we have the ability to do graphics on vehicles through our departments?
Not yet. Sounds like we should.
It's a growing area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the shrink wrap?
Yeah.
The shrink, I don't think we have the equipment to be able to produce that.
no,
We
and that-
can produce the banners,
I
right?
also think
But
you need
not the
something
shrink wrap.
that's the length of this table to do that. So.
Well, I would think you have, there's other, listen, kids are very innovative. If you see a train going by, a vehicle, there's all sorts of designs on them the kids painted, maybe in California or something. But I'm sure there's a way to be done. If you start slow with a bus, which you have, and you're going to be doing some work on that, kids could paint it, you know. They do that on various different things, but there's a way to do it. I don't think that's an impossible situation.
Maybe
don't-
the shop could do the painting.
I don't want to add any pressure, but I guess I would say the superintendent's done some pretty wonderful things since
Yeah.
he's been here. I would suggest he take the football, run with it,
Very good.
and come back to
Yeah.
us maybe in August if you can come to something. I
can
think something you're bringing up, Mr. Bahu, is the point that our kids are now proud to come here, and they see that name, and it stands for something so exceptional. Where I don't think that's always been the case with the school. And having that, I went to Greater Lowell. You know, people are proud. Mr. O'Hare goes out somewhere, and the person was proud to say they came here. That brand recognition reinforces the pride that they had here, so there's something more to it than just advertising it for new students to come. It's hopefully building up our alumni, hopefully building up our businesses that come to do the co-ops. We do need to reach for that next level, so it's a great idea.
Yeah, the Alumni Foundation would be, I'm sure would go ahead and begin to start donating, you know, funds toward our college scholarships that we have.
If we have any alumni here that want to offer some money right now, we could take a check.
But realistically, it comes down to the feasibility, and I understand that. So, you know, I think, you know, the superintendent's willing to go ahead and take a look at it. We've had this conversation. I wanted to bring it forward to the school committee.
So we are and some of it was in my goals from last year. So we are working on a kind of a branding marketing plan, but right now we're looking at kind of a low-cost one. So for instance, the rejuvenation of our website and the new website that's going to come out, the app that we're going to be coming out with. We're going, next year, hopefully we're going to publish 3 newsletters. We haven't done a newsletter that I know of that will promote the school and that we'll be able to send that out and market that out. So I think that these ideas kind of feed into that marketing branding plan, whether or not there's a way to get us out on some of our vehicles, and it is, you're absolutely right. It's what's the cost? Like the newsletter's fairly low cost, right? Then we just got to get that out, both in hard copy, but also it can be email blasted out too, to lists of people. So we are working on it, from one perspective, we're looking at it as an overall branding and marketing plan for the school. It's one of the things that Chad works real hard on. And this is just another component of it that just kind of stretches it a little bit further. But more than happy to, looking at the pictures of Worcester Tech, I know the people at Worcester Tech. I'll give them a call.
Sure.
What's it cost? Now, knowing Worcester Tech, because they're very, very, they've been extremely innovative, mostly through one of their advisors who owned an electric company. He's Ted Coughlin. He's passed away, but his daughter now runs the company, and she's now taking up, spending a lot of time promoting the school. So they have a lot of businesses who will sponsor things in the school. They have entrustment agreements with companies, so they're getting a lot of help from outside sources. So I'm going to call, but I wouldn't be surprised if they, maybe got a company to sponsor the cost of doing the bus, right? So it's not, because once you start taking it out of education money for kids, then it's, it's a hard choice. Do we, let's say it's, whatever, let's say it's $30,000, right? Well, that's $30,000 that we can use for educational supplies and support and resources, as opposed to for advertising. But maybe, let me check with Worcester, see how they do it, but we need to be innovative in how we approach that, because it is a delicate, it's a great idea, but there's very limited resources. We get minimum foundation aid, right? We don't get any extra money. So, we also have to pay attention to every penny going to benefit kids. This indirectly benefits kids. Don't get me wrong; it's a great idea, but maybe there's an innovative way to try and
well, of course, we're trying to benefit people that want to come here as adults, right? The night programs, because the night programs don't seem to really get a big push of enrollees. Annually.
So part of the so part of the branding and part of the outreach that we are doing behind the scenes, Christine was just in my office 2 days ago, Tuesday, meeting with me, and she has hired a company that has put up a 5x9 or 6x9 card that is going to get mailed to every resident of the district, with all of the programs for next year. It's a promotional little brochure that she put together. I think the cost is about postage and everything development, it was about $5,000. So for promoting the night school, specifically what you're just mentioning, that is a new form of outreach that we're going to try, and it will be easy, because we're going to see this fall, that mailing will go out in August, and we're going to see whether we get an increase this fall over last fall. Based on
what are the target households? Every household?
There's some parameters, 18-year-olds to 65-year-olds or something. There's some parameters that she gave the company, and they developed. It's 18,000 pieces of mail that will go out, and it's a card, two-sided.
For about $5,000?
Yeah, I think the total cost, there was a certain amount for developing the card, certain amount for doing the work on the list, and I think it was $2,000 was the postage for it, right? So it was about $5,000 total, which she had from profit for her. It's coming from her revolving fund, so she's spending money to try and make money, right? So if enrollment goes up because of it, then it was money well spent. So we're going to try it and see whether or not it has an impact or not. So that's a direct marketing through the mail that we're working on. So just so there are things that we are working on.
Any advertising, because at the end of the day, comes down to how many LPN students we have enrolled from district, from within district, and how many are enrolled from out of district.
Yep.
I don't know that enough people know that we offer an LPN program. And of course, you know, from, you know, being in the city of Lowell, sometimes they look at the community colleges, sometimes
Yep.
they look at the
Mm.
private, you know, the
Sure.
private schools and such like that. They pay an awful lot of money. And I think what, you know, any goal that we can do to promote what our school has to offer, not just in the daytime, but also in the nighttime. And, you know, this is really a very interesting thought, but, you know, billboards are an interesting thought.
Yeah.
Piece of mail is a great idea, you know, so however we could go ahead and begin to brand this school will move us forward for many years to come, because at some point, charter schools are coming in, and we have to identify that maybe our numbers may go down, and with that being the case, we have to be pretty careful with that. Thank heavens, right now, we have the governor on our side. Doesn't mean that the governor's not gonna be on the charter school side a number of years from now. So anyway, it was just great
No, it's all
conversation.
great suggestions. It just kind of expands the thinking around the
Yeah.
things we're already trying to do.
Right.
So I really appreciate that, and I'll definitely look into and give you, you know, we can continue the discussion at our August meeting, and I'll have a little bit of information to share with you on what I find out on some of this stuff, especially what's going on at Worcester.
Right.
'Cause that's
Well,
really,
Worcester, it's
that's
funny-
pretty impressive to take a look
It's
at
funny
those
that you
buses.
mentioned Worcester, and I hate to interrupt you, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Mr. Moore. But as a matter of fact, our treasurer from the school, he actually works at the Lowell Regional Transit Authority. So he says he knows the people over in Worcester, so he may be able to call them up and see how they did that, and, you know, what cost and what burden that may come back to the school. So, sounds like you know the people over at Worcester Tech, he knows the people over Worcester Regional Transit Authority. There's some, you know, there's a lot of great work to be done here, and I'm looking forward to finding out what we can.
Very good.
All right, Mr.
One
Moore?
other thing, Mr. Bahu, we tried to promote night school a couple of years ago, if you recollect, and
Mhm.
we had some posters made,
Mm-hmm.
and then we tried distributing through out the businesses in the community, and I don't know if that flew at all, you know what I mean? But we did do that a couple of years ago. It's somewhere in the school that we made posters, and you know, we asked different businesses to put them in their windows, store windows, stuff like that. But yeah, it's a thought.
Mr. O'Hare?
The difference in that is they've been tried before, all right? That's, what you're looking for is shock treatment, new treatment. You got a bus that's sitting out there. I don't know what you're gonna do. I know what you're gonna do inside, you told us. Kids make calendars around here, all right? They can make do the same thing and put that right on the bus, all right? That's different, never seen before from here. All right, it's a different approach to selling the product.
I'm sure they have kids that paint
I'm
on
done.
the walls downtown, you know what I mean? What do you call that?
My turn for a minute, because you just brought up something that if you're trying to do something new, we should be targeting people through Facebook with a cost per click, which is very, very low cost to do. You can get, I think, 2,000 or 3,000 hits for $60. And that would be, you could do that through Facebook, you could do it through Twitter, you could do it through Google. You really want to go outside the box and do something different. If you want to reach somebody that's searched for a job search or searched an LPM program, it will know that your computer did a search, and then when you go on to Yahoo's webpage, there'll be an advertisement that pops up for Greater Lowell Tech. If you really want to connect with that demographic who's going to come here for night school, those are the people that would be looking at it. So that's a minimal cost. Anyways, I think we've spent enough time on this. I have one other item for new business. I'd like to ask Mr. Bahu to come up here, please,
Up here.
so I can make a presentation to you for your time as the school committee chair. I just want to say thank you from all of us.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you
Booton.
very much.
Thank you, fellow school committee members. It was my honor to be the chairman of this board. I think we've got a lot done during the time. We finished our building project, our co-op numbers went up. We have a great superintendent here that works really hard, a great assistant superintendent.
All right, sit down.
I must say that I
Head's
was
swollen.
very proud to honor, and I was very proud to be the chairman of the school committee, so thank you very much.
And you did it well, Good job. That was quick.
Yeah, it always is.
We could have wrapped a bus for the price of that thing.
Okay, committee person motions. I want to pass this to Mr. Moran?
Yep. Motion by Mr. Booton to have this policy subcommittee and the superintendent develop a district wellness policy for the school that will include the distribution of condoms to students.
Any second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Bowden.
A little bit self-explanatory. It was brought to my attention Lowell High has this policy there. It's not something that you give out to everybody. The students would have to go seek it from either the nurse or where we've partnered with Lowell Community Health Center. They would have to go down there. But Ms. Davis, about 2 or 3 months ago, spoke about, we have had a few instances of pregnancies. I know there could be further complications, not just from pregnancies, but STDs. So we try and take care of kids not to do drugs, to protect them. I think this is something worthwhile that the policy committee and Mr. Bourgeois could come up with.
And to send this to policy subcommittee would be a great place to start.
Thank you.
And being the chairman of the policy subcommittee, I look forward to working on that
Thank you.
with the superintendent.
All right.
Motion,
Roll call.
what's it, Mr. Espinola?
Oh.
You
I
want to
speak?
speak, Mr.
Yes.
O'Hare?
I just have a little difficulty with this motion. I just want to share my thoughts with you. It's, the teacher's job in any school, including Greater Lowell, has a very, very difficult time. And we talk about the success rates that we've had here with the work that has been done since Mr. Bourgeois has been here, and the teachers are always trying to get to that level of having high standard kids at the school, graduating. Our MCAS scores have gone higher. Everything has done well. We have student representatives here that will, and teachers that handle some of the problems that would come to them involved with condoms. At one time it was, I'm a firm believer that there are certain roles for school committee people or schools and administrators. There's certain roles for parents, and the parents play a big role in this situation of what is going to happen to their child. And I'm a firm believer that I think we're overstepping our bounds when we go trying to implement something like this in our school. I may be wrong, but that's my thoughts. At one time there was kind of some slang, it's womb to tomb in education. Everything that happens to a kid is the responsibility of the school. There's a lot of other responsibilities that fall within the home, and they should be addressed. Now, in a situation like this, and I know it wouldn't happen, but again, why wouldn't it happen? That if they were going to get this product that you're talking about, they can get it at a CVS. Now, we have a CVS right in this school, so does that mean that the student is going to go down to the CVS in our building and pick up what they need? I just feel as though that this is something should be addressed, but it doesn't necessarily have to be addressed by the administration of this school. I think this is a parent responsibility to, and I don't know whether all the parents would be in favor of this type of action, that the school would be taking care of it. Somebody here mentioned Lowell High is doing this, but I don't know what and I'm sure they do. If you're saying that, I have no idea what other schools are doing. I have no idea what their success rate is, but I really feel as though this is an issue that should be addressed at home.
I would just say, Mr. O'Hare, that's why going to the policy subcommittee, you can put in an opt-out clause for parents not to allow their children to have it. This is not I don't think the teachers would be giving it. I think we would be doing it in conjunction with Lowell Community Health Center, as we do, trying to prevent them from starting smoking marijuana, opioids, alcohol, anything like that. So I think the policy subcommittee could alleviate some of your fears and put something in there that would make people happy. I mean, you did make one point that I would challenge you on. What parents should be doing is different than what parents are doing. So to turn a blind eye, I don't think is the right way to go. But thank you.
Mr. Gagey?
Yeah, just briefly, a lot of this type of programs, they're available readily at the college level. They're distributed free right out in the public squares and so forth. I also feel that sometimes parents don't have a handbook on what topics to discuss with their children, and sometimes there's some oversight, not intentionally, but either through embarrassment and difficulty talking about these subjects with their kids. And the school is that safety net that could be available to the children, and it's not like we're promoting it, we're making it available at these different locations to go talk about it and to be educated in what they're used for and so forth. So I think the policy subcommittee would be great, and I think it's a nice way to kind of look at the whole picture, and it's something that needs to be addressed. And I don't think parents do it intentionally, and sometimes it's an oversight, sometimes they're embarrassed to talk about it with their children, and I think the school's a safety net, and we have a duty to the students to help them become well-rounded in everything.
And I did take notice to who sits on the policy subcommittee. So Mr. Moran is the chairman, Mr. Giggy is on that policy subcommittee, as well as Mr. O'Hare. You're on that policy subcommittee as well. So this does not mean it's etched in stone. It comes down to having a discussion about it, seeing if we want to put it in our policy manual, and if we do not want to, then we can go ahead and choose not to. A great place to start would be, in a subcommittee.
So having that said, this motion says that we will create a district wellness policy for the school that will include the distribution of condoms to students. So if it's the will of the policy subcommittee not to do this, and they decide to do a district wellness policy but not to do that, this motion does not allow that to happen.
Can we amend the motion, Mr. Booton, to
Sure.
make it may include?
Sure,
Would that be okay?
that would be, fine.
So could you read the motion back?
A motion by,
Wait a minute, are you gonna vote on the amendment?
so, can I read the amendment and then ask to vote on it? The motion by myself to have the policy subcommittee and the superintendent develop a district wellness policy for the school that may include the distribution of condoms for students.
Okay, May.
That's the amended, who's gonna second it?
I'll second the
second.
amended. Kempton, the policy.
So we'll vote on the amended motion first.
Okay.
Mr. Lemay, Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Tatsias, Mr. Gigi,
Yes.
Mr. O'Hare,
No.
Mr. Espinola,
Yes.
Mr. Bahu,
Yes.
Mr. Booton.
Yes,
So the amended motion passes.
thank you.
Any further votes, or do we move?
Now, yeah.
Now, wasn't that,
Subcommittees.
so that wasn't the vote on changing the motion?
No,
That was the vote on the amendment.
motion.
On the amended motion. So the
They
will
made
is
an
gone.
amended motion,
The original is gone, this is
and
amended.
Kenton seconded the amended motion, so now you don't have to vote on the original, because the amended passed,
Okay,
okay?
thanks.
Okay, we'll move on to
That
the,
was the vote, was yes?
approval of the May 19th,
Like that.
2016 Greater Lowell Technical High School Building Committee Report. Entertain a motion for approval by Mr. Gigi, second by Mr. Moran.
Mr. Lemay, Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Tatsias, Mr. Gigi?
Yes.
Mr. O'Hare?
Yes.
Mr. Espinola?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Booton?
Yes. I don't believe there's any change orders.
There were none.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn by Mr. Moran, second by Mr. O'Hare.
Mr. Lemay, Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Tatsias, Mr. Gigi?
Yes.
Mr. O'Hare?
Yes.
Mr. Espinola?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Booton?
Yes, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, so,